Hey YouTube, Johnny here from Some Wonders, and today I want to go and show you my updated Gimmick Puppet deck profile. Now the last time I uploaded a deck profile for Gimmick Puppets was back in May, and since then I've improved upon the deck, and I would like to go and show you guys that. So let's get right into it. So I'd run 3 Gimmick Puppet Dreary dolls. You should run her at 3 because she's one of the best Gimmick Puppet monsters that you could go and have. And she's not great to open up with, but she can special summon herself from the graveyard, so you don't really have to do anything for that. And yeah, she's a great card. She can work with Trade-In, Egghead, and all that jazz. I also run 3 Gimmick Puppet Magnet dolls. If you control only Gimmick Puppet monsters, you can special summon him from your hand. And you could go into another rank 8 or something. He's great with which one was it? He's great with Gear Changer, right? So you could just normal summon Gear Changer, and then you could go and special summon your Magnet doll, and then you could go and use his effect, target him, make him level 8, and then yeah, exceed. So yeah, that's pretty good. And I also run 3 Gearspring Spirits. Now with this variant I only run machine monsters, and some people don't like doing that, so they decide to cut him. But yeah, with my variant you could go ahead and run him at 3 because I only run machines. And yeah, he also has an effect which allows you to target one of your opponent's monsters and make their attack 0 until the end phase. And yeah, but I mean targeting's not as good as it once was, so I don't really use that effect, except for when I can. And yeah, he's a level 8 and he works with him. I also run 3 Gimmick Puppet Eggheads. He's great for opening plays because Gimmick Puppets don't exactly have the best openings as they could. So I use him to go and kind of like fix that, because his effect is that you could discard 1 Gimmick Puppet monster from your hand, and then you could either deal 800 damage or you can make him level 8. So he's great if you open up with Dreary dolls and you don't have any trade-ins or anything. So you could go ahead and use his effect, send her to grave, and then you could go ahead and, assuming you have something else such as a Magnet doll or a Gearspring Spirit, and yeah, go ahead and go into a rank 8. So aside from that, I also run 3 Gimmick Puppet Gear Changers. Like I said before, you could go and target any Gimmick Puppet monster you have and then make his level the same level as theirs until the end phase. So I know some people run him at 1, but with mine I like to go and run him at 3 just in case. So I could get into him faster, and then sometimes, sometimes when you top deck him, he's a real game changer, because I mean in mid-game, sometimes you top deck him and then you could special summon her from grave and go into an immediate rank 8 right then and there. So I also run 2 Gimmick Puppet Scissor Arms. And with that, the reason being is because he's a Foolish Burial, you could send Dreary doll to grave. I don't run him at 3. You could bump him down to 1. I see some people bump him down to 1, because sometimes mid-game when you already have all your Dreary dolls in graveyard, you don't really need him as much. So I could see him being bumped down to 1 later on. But for the time being, I still run him at 2. I also run 1 Gimmick Puppet Destroy. His effect is that you could target himself and then destroy him. Or I'm sorry, you could target any Gimmick Puppet monster, but you only really target himself, and destroy them. And then his effect is when he's sent from field to grave, or destroyed. I think it's destroyed, right? No, it's just when he's sent from field to grave. You could go ahead and special summon up to 2 Gimmick Puppet monsters from your hand. So he's just great for unclogging your hand, assuming you've just opened terribly and you can't draw into a trade-in for the life of you. Yeah, so that's all the monsters I run. They're all machines. So I run 3 MSTs. I know it's a bit much, but back row, floodgates tend to go and ruin Gimmick Puppets. Like Necro Valley could ruin Gimmick Puppets for the most part, or skill drains, or you know whatever. Just floodgates in general, they're all bad. Especially lose 1 turn. Anyway, so I also run 3 Inferno Reckless Summons. Now, what Inferno Reckless Summon does is that you could go and when a monster is special summoned to your side of the field that's 1500 attack or less, i.e. a lot of these cards. So yeah, anyway. So when a monster is special summoned to your side of the field with 1500 attack or less, you could go and activate this card, chain to the summon, and assuming your opponent has a monster, your opponent has to have a monster on their side of the field as well. But anyway, so when one of these guys are special summoned to your side of the field, you could activate this, and then you could special summon up to 2 more from hand, deck, or graveyard of said monster, and then your opponent can also do the same for the monster that they have on their side of the field. Now, assuming that the only monster they control is an extra deck monster, then, you know, okay, they could probably they can't really special summon from the hand, deck, or graveyard unless, you know, they have one in their graveyard. But anyway, they're gonna have to be in attack position. But yeah, you just basically special summon one of these guys, activate this, bring out 2 more, and then go into an immediate rank 8 summon. And yeah, it also unclogs the deck, assuming it's Dreary Doll. You could go ahead and unclog your deck so you don't draw into her later. Now, like I said before, you run 3 trade-ins. It's a necessity. It's one of the few draw power cards they have, because the monsters or extra deck monsters of Gimmick Puppets don't have any draw power whatsoever. So you got to go and make do with what you can. And I also run 2 advanced draws. You could tribute a level 8 monster, and then you could draw 2 cards. And since Dreary Doll could constantly special summon from the graveyard, then it's kind of like you always have a supply of a monster to tribute. And I also run 2 junk puppets. Now, this is great because, I mean, sometimes you don't have any other monsters for Egghead, so you could just use Egghead's effect, discard Dreary Doll, make him level 8, activate Junk Puppet, bring her back, and then Exceed immediately for your first turn. And if anything, I'd probably run this at 3. I could probably drop down the Scissor Arms to 1 and then run this at 3. And, that's just an idea. You guys could do it. Player preference at that point. I run 2 Magic Argent Chaos Forces and 1 Numeron Force. Argent Chaos Force, you could go and activate it, and then if you rank into a rank 5 or higher, you could bring it back from graveyard once per duel. And Numeron Force, you could go and basically make all cards face up on the field, aside from the monster summoned by it, make their effects negated permanently. That's always great, because sometimes you just don't have any MSTs, or it's just a monster that you can't get over due to the effect. So Numeron Force could really help with that. 2 Dark Holes, I don't have a Raigeki for this deck. Board wiping is great. It's always good. 1 limiter removal since I'm only running machines, and that's all the spells. I only have 3 traps. You don't really run traps. You could go ahead and not run these at all if you want. But yeah, 1 Compulse, 1 Bottomless, and 1 Gravity Bind. Reason why I run Gravity Bind is because this is an Exceed based deck. You only run Exceeds, no Synchros. So yeah, basically, Gravity Bind, it's a floodgate against your opponent, basically. Because, I mean, you don't really attack with your monsters, because they're all low attack. 1,200 for the Scissor Arms, and then 1,600 for Egghead. That's really just the strongest monsters you have in here. So, yeah, so Gravity Bind's just basically a floodgate against the opponent. And, yeah, so you could go ahead and run these. Traps aren't really essential for this deck, but, yeah, player preference. So for extra deck, I run 2 number 88s. Honestly, why I run 2 is because 1 for the rank up play, and then the other one just in case you need to go and beat over something. And yeah, but I mean, you can go and really run 1. I don't really go into 2 in a duel, So that's that. I also run 2 number 15s. You could target and destroy 1 monster your opponent controls. Oh, I think he's only special summoned, right? Yeah, he's a special summon 1. You could detach 1, target a special summon monster your opponent controls, and destroy it. If it's an Exceed monster, you deal damage equal to the original attack of that monster. And he's the one that, his rank up version, number C15, he's the one that could target any card on the field and destroy it. And if it's a monster, you could deal damage equal to the attack of that monster. I run 3 Gimmick Puppet of Strings. Yeah, his effect's basically just to go and combo off with the rank up version, because I mean, you could detach 1, all face up monsters on the field get string counters, and then when you rank him up into C40, when you special summon, you could destroy all monsters with string counters on there. And yeah, you could deal damage equal to the highest number. Deal damage to your opponent equal to the highest attack on the field of the destroyed monster, and then you also get to draw a card. So this is the only Gimmick Puppet monster that could go and allow you to draw a card. So yeah, which is why I like to go and run 2 of him, and then sometimes just in case you need to beat over something for a 3k, you could have him. And also for the last 3 cards, I run 2 Sea Castrums. So the reason why I run him is because he's actually pretty good. He's a machine, he's a rank 8, and also during either player's turn, you can banish 1 random card from your opponent's extra deck, and then his attack becomes equal to the banished monsters. And you don't have to detach for that. You detach just to send back one of the banished cards from your opponent's banished zone. You could detach 1, return a banished card from your opponent's banished zone, and then destroy all monsters on your opponent's side of the field of the type. For example, if it's an Exceed monster, or Synchro Monster or Fusion Monster. So let's say you banish an Exceed monster, and then your opponent Exceeds, then you could go and return. You could detach one during your opponent's turn, and then you could go and destroy the Exceed monster, all Exceed monsters your opponent controls. So yeah, I like to run him. He's a machine, and sometimes you could just basically clear out your opponent's extra deck, which is pretty good. And I also run one Googly-Eyes Drum Dragon. He's just a 4K beat stick. You detach one, he gains 1,000 attack, and then yeah, that's really just it. He also has another effect which works with a super defense robos or whatever, but you don't really focus on that. He's just a 4K beat stick, and yeah, that's the reason why I run him. So yeah, in the comment section below, tell me what you thought of the deck profile, and yeah, guys, stay awesome.